Hi guys, it's Miss Brown again with another how-to video. This time we're going to be looking at Microsoft Word, and I decided to break this into two parts. So today we're just going to do part one, which will be on some basics, and then we'll do part two later on in the week, which will have some more in-depth things. So for today's lesson, these are the things you should be able to do by the end of it. The first is change font size, color, and orientation. That should be pretty easy because it's similar to PowerPoint. Add a running header and footer, and we'll talk about what that means when we get to it. Edit your margins, double space a paragraph, indent a paragraph, create a bulleted or numbered list. Again, that's the same as in PowerPoint, so that shouldn't be bad. And then insert a page break. So we'll talk about what that means when we get there. So first, we need to go ahead and open up a blank document. So find wherever you have it, your Microsoft Word, and open that up. And just like in PowerPoint, there's a lot of pre-made templates. Some things that you might see a calendar. There's good resume builders. So when you guys get into high school and you're going to be creating resumes for college, there's resume builders on here. You can also make invitations. There's a lot of different options. But we're just going to go ahead and start with a blank document. So go ahead and open up a blank document. And as always, we want to make sure we save it first. So go ahead up to File, Save As, and decide where you want to save yours. I'm just going to save mine to my desktop. And I'm just going to call it Word Example. And then click Save. All right, so now we're good to go. So the first thing we want to do is look at changing font, size, color, and orientation. So again, this is going to be the same as PowerPoint. If you look up at the top, your menu here looks very similar to PowerPoint because it's all of the same options. So we're just going to say this is the title of my document. And I'm going to make it the title. So I'm going to highlight it. So again, I just highlight the font. And then here you see your plus, your A up and your A down. So that changes your size. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And then I want to make it bold and underlined. So I made it bold, underlined, and then again, here's your where to change your font color. The one next to it, this one is to highlight your font. So the one with the yellow line, that's highlight, and the A with the red underneath of it, that's font color. So I'm going to make mine blue. And here's where you change your font, whichever one you want. It's the same menu, so that should be pretty straightforward from PowerPoint. And then your indent or your different alignments here. So we have align left, center, or right. We're going to go ahead and title it. Since it's the title, we're going to center it. So now I'm going to hit enter to go down to the next row. And I'm going to undo, make it back over to the left side. So I clicked this to go back to the left side. And I'm going to make my font to 14. And that is the font size that I will use. So you now see how to do different font size, color, and what the font is itself. So that's the same as PowerPoint, so that shouldn't be new. Again, remember to constantly save your progress so you don't lose anything. So I'm going to hit Control S to go ahead and save it instead of going up and clicking on the Save button. All right, so next is a running header or footer. Now in Language Arts, you might have to do things like make sure your name is on the top of every single page, or number it at the bottom. So that is what we're going to see next, is how to add a header or a footer. So above here, you can see that there's this blank space. If I double click in that blank space, it'll open the header. So right here, you can see that this is the header. What will happen is what you type here will appear on the top of every single page. So that is how you make it so you don't have to keep repasting it each time. So I'm going to go back to home, and I'm going to make it to the right. So click Align Right, and I'm going to say this is Miss Brown for Pride, period. So now on every single page, no matter how many pages you have, that header will be there. So again, all I did was I double clicked at the top, and then I just went to Home to change the alignment, and that's there now. So that'll appear on every page. When you see this footer and header tools, there are some other options here. You can make the first page different and things like that. That one you might need to just play around with yourself to figure out the different options for that. So that's a header, so that's at the top. So then a footer is obviously at the bottom. So if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see your footer. And what I want to do down here is in the center of the page. So I'm going to center it. And in design, I'm going to add page number. And it's at the bottom of the page and in the middle. So now that's going to put the page number on every single page, and it'll automatically change it to be what it was. So again, to do that, I just double clicked in the bottom, went to design, and hit page number. So now you have your header and your footer. So you just double click where it is. So now on every single page, my name will appear at the top and the page number will appear at the bottom. To get back to the body of the document, you just double click back where you were. All right, so next we're going to look at some different formatting options for paragraphs. So I'm in the body of my paper underneath my title, and I need to set it back to just be my normal font. So I'm going to change it to align left instead of center. I'm going to make sure it's typing in black. I don't want it underlined. I don't want it bold. And I'm just going to change it to a real plain font, size 12. So I'm hitting the A a couple times until I'm size 12. So now I'm just going to make it a basic font just so that we can see. And we need to make a fake paragraph to work with. So I'm going to say this is the paragraph of my paper. And then I'm just going to take that sentence and highlight it. Control C is copy, if you remember that from PowerPoint. Control V is paste. And mine is formatting weird, so I'm just going to edit it to make sure it's putting it in one paragraph. And I'm going to rehighlight it. So I'm just copying and pasting it a couple times until it makes it a paragraph with multiple lines. All right, so now we have our paragraph. We can go ahead and edit it to make it indented and double spaced. So I'm going to start with indenting. So every paragraph, if you remember from language arts, is supposed to have an indent. And so to do that, you just go to the beginning of the paragraph, and instead of hitting spacebar a bunch of times, the shortcut is to just hit the tab button. So if you look on the keyboard over top of caps lock, there's a button that says tab. And when you hit tab, it automatically indents it to the size it's supposed to be. So there is the automatic indent. And then if I want to double space this paragraph, which most of the time your papers will be double spaced, instead of hitting enter after each line, which doesn't actually work, I'm going to highlight my paragraph, the whole paragraph, and then next to where the different centering and different alignment options are, you will see this one with the double arrows and the lines next to it. This double arrow here is how to make it double spaced. So if I click on my drop-down menu, there are some options here. As you hover over them, you'll see how it changes the spacing in your paragraph. So normal 1.0 is just normal, 1.15, and if you notice, it just starts getting wider and wider. So double space would be times 2, double times 2. So if you hit that 2.0, it'll automatically double space it for you, and that'll keep going for the rest of your paper. So instead of hitting enter, I went up here to these double arrows, and that is how to double space it. So I double space it and I indent it. So now when I continue to the next line, if you notice, it's automatically indented. And as I type, it will automatically double space it. So now my lines are automatically double spaced. So that formatting will stay the same. So now you see how to double space with these arrows and indent just by hitting tab, and that formatting automatically saves, so every time you start a new paragraph, it'll automatically indent for you. All right, two more things. One is a bulleted list and one is a page break. So I'm actually going to show you page break first. So if you go to Insert, next to the Home button in the top left corner, you'll see Insert, Page Break. What that does is it will start a new page. So say this was my introduction page and I just wanted this paragraph, but then on the next page I was actually going to start everything else for my body of my paper. This page break automatically jumps down to the next page. So instead of hitting enter a bunch of times to go down to the next page, you can just hit this page break and it'll automatically keep you starting a new page. Just a little fun tip. All right, last thing we're going to look at in this presentation is how to do bullets and numbering. Now it is the exact same thing as in PowerPoint. So if you go back to your home, where all of your options are, you will see bullets and numbering. I'm actually going to show you numbering and show you how to do outlines. So Word is really good about formatting automatically and doing things like that. So I'm going to hit the number option, and I'm going to say this is the first list. When I hit enter, it automatically does number 2. And again, you can see that it's still double spaced from prior. Now, instead of making this number 2, I want to make this a subset to 1. So if you hit the tab button, so I started out in my first list, I weighted a list at the top to be numbers, hit enter, you notice it makes it 2, but I want it to be a sub list underneath of 1. So if you hit tab, again, the same button you used to indent, if you notice it jumps over a little bit and now it's A. So that is just a sub list under 1. So I can type whatever I want, just typing a bunch of letters, hit enter, and it does that. If you hit tab, backspace, backspace, it'll go back to 2. So again, what I did from there, I'm still in my subset. It makes it B. I can make another one, and it's still under that sub list, but I want to go back and add a 2. So from this new line, you hit tab once, it jumps over to a third subset, but if you hit backspace and backspace, it'll go back to whatever you want it to be. And then if you hit backspace again, it'll delete that too. So bullet lists and number lists are here. It automatically makes it an outline. So if you were ever doing an outline for a paper for language arts or anything like that, that is how you change your different sublists. So some things you should have learned: you should know how to open and save, which were the same as in PowerPoint, change font size and color, add headers, footers for page numbers, double spacing and indent, bulleted list, and page break. Now there's one more thing that I forgot to show you, and that is how to edit your margins. So your margins are automatically set to be 1 inch, which is the common size that you'll use. But if you ever need to make your margins smaller, you will go to Layout, and over here is Margins. So in the top, I went to Layout, to Margins, and these are some automatic different settings, but 9 times out of 10, you'll just keep it at normal. But that's there in case you ever need it for narrow or bigger ones or whatnot. So that is how you change it. You can hit custom margins to change it to be a certain one, or you can slide these options to make it there. So I hope you learned some new things. Go ahead and save this and upload it to send it to your teacher through the Turnitin on Schoology. And then please take a minute to fill out the survey so I can see what to add to the next lesson. Thank you guys and have a great day.